How's it going, everyone? This is the George here, and today we are going to be reviewing Creed 3. This is the newest film in the Rocky slash Creed franchise, and once again stars Michael B. Jordan as Adonis Creed. But not only does he star in this film, he's also directing this film. This is the first film that he's directed, and in this film, Adonis Creed is on top of the world, and he's retired as a champion, and he's spending time with his family, with his daughter, with his wife. But when his childhood friend Damien, played by Jonathan Majors, comes back into his life and wants his shot at the championship, Adonis has to decide how he's going to handle it when things with Damien get out of hand. And this is also the first film in the Rocky Creed franchise where Sylvester Stallone does not return as Rocky Balboa. So there are a few questions that I had going into this film. One of them, what kind of performance can we expect from Jonathan Majors as the antagonist? We recently saw him as Kang in Ant-Man and the Wasp Quantumanium. And regardless of how you feel about that film, love it or hate it, a lot of people agree that him as Kang was the best part about that film. Second question, what kind of director would Michael B. Jordan be? Is he going to make a great film? Is he going to recapture the tone of the first two Creed films? Or is this going to feel similar to like Rocky 3 and 4? Where it's more entertaining, even though I like those movies, than the first two Rocky films, which were more serious. And the last question is, how will this film be without the presence of Sylvester Stallone as Rocky? So I can easily say that Creed 3 is an amazing film. I had a great time with this film. I think it is a great sequel. It's one of the best films in the Rocky and Creed franchise. Michael B. Jordan did a great job of directing this film. Um, the choreography of the boxing fights was great. He said that these fights will be heavily influenced by anime like Dragon Ball Z and Naruto. And if you're someone who watches anime or watch like the more action-packed anime like Dragon Ball Z and Naruto, yeah, you will definitely see the influence. I think one of the good things with these up-and-coming directors that are younger, like Michael B. Jordan and others, is that you see with their age, like how they grew up on anime, and you start seeing that anime influence in the films. And if it's handled right, like it was in this film, then you're gonna have a great time with it. And he did a great job of capturing that influence. And it makes me excited not just to see Michael B. Jordan direct more films, but other up and coming directors who will make these films and feel influenced by anime. But Michael B. Jordan's directing does not take away anything from his amazing performance. He is great as Adonis Creed. He's been amazing in these three films. Tessa Thompson as his wife Bianca is also great. Jonathan Majors as Damien. That is one of the best parts of this film. He's one of the better antagonists in this Rocky Creed franchise. And to be honest, I feel like his performance in this film, while I thought he was great as Kang in Ant-Man and the Wasp Quantumanium, I feel like his performance in this film made me more excited for his future as Kang than in the actual Marvel film that he was the Marvel villain in. But yeah, he did a great job. And another thing that I feel like was influenced by anime is like revisiting Adonis and Damien's past. Like obviously anime always has like those flashback sequences. And I know there's always flashback sequences in movies. That's not just like an anime thing. But I feel like how the flashback sequences were handled did kind of feel a bit influenced by anime. But yeah, those flashback sequences where they explore the past of these characters, I thought those were handled very well. When like you saw the flashback sequences, I thought was perfect timing as well. And also the thing I appreciate about this film the most is that it's not predictable. It feels like the Creed 2, while I like Creed 2 a lot, I think it's a great film. Creed 2 feels predictable because you kind of knew at a certain point in the Creed franchise that Adonis would eventually face off against the son of Ivan Drago, and kind of how that rivalry between him and Drago's son Victor was handled. While I liked it, it did feel predictable, and it took away what could have made that film more special. This film, instead of going a predictable route where you could have had the antagonist be like the son of Clubber Lang from like Rocky 3 or another like Rocky rival or something, they went with a more original concept where they explore the past of Adonis and take a childhood friend and basically have the two go at it. And I love that they added so much uniqueness to it because that's something that can also be considered predictable. Maybe not in the Rocky franchise, but in other franchises. But they handled it very well. And one thing that Michael B. Jordan also did well is that he captured the tone of the first two Creed films. At this point in the Rocky franchise, the first two Rocky films were pretty serious. They were enjoyable, but they were still pretty serious films overall. But once we got to like Rocky 3 and Rocky 4, while I still enjoy those movies, I love most of the Rocky movies with the exception of Rocky 5. But like Rocky 3 and 4 were definitely more focused on the entertaining aspects of the Rocky franchise. And while they did still have serious moments, the serious tone did go down. It did go back once they got back to Rocky Balboa. But yeah, it started becoming a bit more entertaining. It was kind of getting into that 80s side of things, which I still enjoyed. But Michael B. Jordan, instead of like going in a different tone direction with the tone, he kept that tone and it worked very well in this film. Now, the big question about this film, how did this movie feel without having Sylvester Stallone as Rocky Balboa? Now, if you saw Creed 2, you kind of knew that like Rocky's send off was pretty fitting. Spoiler if you haven't seen Creed 2 yet, basically at the end of Creed 2, he's basically passed the torch to Adonis and he finally decides to reconnect with his son and meet his grandson for the first time. And I know back in 2019, Sylvester Stallone said he had an idea for a Rocky 7, and it kind of looked like he was moving away from the Creed franchise to begin with. Last year, things got very dicey between him and one of the Rocky producers because apparently the one of the Rocky producers will not give him a share in the rights to Rocky or give him the rights to Rocky. I'm not all that familiar with it, but I know there's a rights issue with the character, and Sylvester Stallone is angry about it, and he's obviously not going to be involved until something happens. Because I also know he wants to do like a Rocky prequel TV show, but I think even before all that stuff happened, he wasn't going to be in Creed 3. But anyways, how was his presence? How was his presence missed a lot? For the most part, this film didn't really need him. This is Adonis Creed's story, and overall, for the most part, Sylvester Stallone as Rocky Balboa, and I love the character of Rocky Balboa, and I love Sylvester Stallone and his performance as Rocky. I felt like for the most part, it wasn't needed. There's one scene in the film, and I'm not gonna spoil it, but I'll just say there's like one scene in the film where it feels like he could have been in the film. I'm not saying he should have been, but he could have been, and it would have made sense to have him in the film. And it's like if there wasn't a rights issue behind the scenes, and if like they negotiated with him well, in real life, Rocky most likely would have been in that scene. Basically, what I'm trying to get at, sorry, I'm rambling on, is that there's just one scene where I felt like he probably could have been in the film, and like Rocky as a character would have been there if there wasn't things going on behind the scenes. But overall, it felt like he wasn't needed in this film. And overall, I thought this was a great film. Michael B. Jordan's direction was great. The soundtrack and score is great as always. I like the soundtrack in basically all these Creed movies and also the Rocky movies. One thing that they can never be disappointed with in a Rocky or Creed film is the soundtrack. The performances were great. Jonathan Majors was awesome. Michael B. Jordan as Adonis was great as well. And the way the film ended, oh, before I actually get to that, also the stuff with like Adonis and his daughter, I also like that stuff a lot. But back to like the ending of the film, how the movie ended, it ends in a way where there's room for more. I know Michael B. Jordan is open to doing a Creed 4. Whether he directs it or not, we're not too sure yet. But it also ended in a way where this is the end of at least Adonis Creed's story. It ended on a high note, but it's also left the door open. But overall, I had a great time with Creed 3. I highly recommend you check it out if you're a fan of the Rocky and Creed films. And I'm going to give this film an A. As far as the Creed movies go, the first Creed is still my favorite. I still think it's the best, but this is definitely my second favorite. This is also probably in my top three, top four Rocky and Creed films. But yeah, what are your thoughts on Creed 3? Did you love it? Did you hate it? What's your favorite film in the Creed franchise? Let me know in the comments down below. And I want to thank you guys for watching. Please like and subscribe already if you haven't. Please share this with someone that likes the Rocky and Creed films. And I hope to see you guys real soon. On Wednesday, I plan on doing my first basketball stream where I'm going to be talking about how this NBA season has gone, what teams look good for the playoffs, what teams could make the play in and not make the playoffs. I'm not going to make it a big long stream because this is my first stream talking basketball. But if you're a fan of basketball, please catch that stream on Wednesday. And I hope to see you guys real soon. Take care, everyone.